And you are.
Yeah, no. There. You're live.
I feel like I want to quote Khan. There she is. There she is. So I did.
Glad to believe. So much the better. Welcome back, guys. We got new Star Trek news.
It's actually, it feels like it's been a little while. It's because we've got got so used to news that. But having them all in 1 week, they should have spread it out a bit.
True.
It's like they blew all of their many, many wads of cash in one go. And then, like, oh, now silence.
That's the wads they blew, yes. Cash wads. Welcome back, guys. 21 likes already. That's awesome. If you haven't hit like yet, hit that like button. Though we got 24 people here, so we can definitely get those up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the great unknown, Stuart.
It is.
Because Stranger World's unknown as well, but we know the cast more. Like, it'll still be it's a Discovery spin-off. This is actually an unknown, you know?
Yes. Yes.
Oh.
And CG animation, very cool. So that's new for Trek, and that's awesome. It's awesome. I'm excited for it.
I mean, they had it for Ephraim and Dot, and the girl that fell. But do we really count those? Yes, but no. So not this fidelity, obviously.
Mark Lawrence, $5. Another super late lunch break brings me in once again. Happy birthday, Samuel.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I did a full filming day yesterday. As any of you that follow me on Facebook saw, I was with. I
did see.
Yeah, I was in my Voyager uniform. Although that day, yesterday, I was just playing the part of the very important officer's shoulder. Very important. That's who I played for most of yesterday. Because it's important what the other actor had to do. I was just there to provide the depth of someone else in the scene. But we got some good stuff. Fought the heat, because obviously, as you know, UK is not designed for either heat or cold, but more so cold. If it's too hot, you buy crappy fans and you deal with it. Whereas I invested in an expensive aircon unit 2 years ago, and it makes all the difference. That's how I'm able to do these lives and edit and work during the depths of summer. And we tested putting that in the studio. It's much bigger than this office. This office can go at low temperature in like 15 seconds. That took a while, and you really felt it. But it was warm, but not too warm. But the respite, you kind of forgot how warm it was outside when you'd been in the respite, even if it was just a bit colder. So that was real helpful. Not perfect, but it wasn't perfect. Like, 27 to 27 degrees plus lights, but anything is better. So it went well.
Very, very good. I am excited to hear that.
And we tested a whole
I'm going to look for the shoulder now, and I'll know.
You should. It's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious. Well, I've got to hide the fact that it's my body, though. So I got to frame it so you can't see my face. Well, I might change my skin tone to like blue or something, because if I've got blue skin, it's probably not me. Might be good at hiding.
Ooh,
yeah,
that's all fancy.
Yeah, because in Camera Raw you've got all the data, so you can make colors, other colors, maybe theoretically. But it's fun because we had Nim back, and she was playing her youngest self ever, and so it's like telling somebody, right now, play yourself 9 years ago. It's like, okay. But we worked out a new makeup, a new hairstyle, obviously a new costume, and it did make a distinct difference. So very pleased with that. We had a good feeling about it, but it was nice to be like, ooh, huh, you look younger. The hell?
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Well, 53 people here already, which is fantastic.
Excellent. I'll start sharing that.
I'll get right to it. Go share. I'll talk to them about super chats, which are important because Mark Lawrence already thrown one in. It's a great way to support the channel and get your comment or question read on the air. We do read stuff in the regular chat as well, but not as often. Apologize for the cough, guys. But yeah, you can also join the channel at the rank of Commander, Captain, Admiral, Fleet Admiral, or Federation President. That's a way to help us on a monthly basis. Or head over to Patreon/Trekyards. It's another monthly way as well. One of the easiest ways is just make sure you're subscribed, hit that bell notification icon to all. Those are really important algorithms for YouTube and for the channel, so we'd appreciate that if you're able to. And if you can join or super chat, that's another great way as well. If you do join the channel and you join the lives quite often, it's a good way to be a part of it, because you get your name highlighted, you get a badge beside your name showing us how long you've been with us, and also you get the Trekyards emojis and stuff for in the chat. So we got a lot of regular community members that join us for these lives, so they get to use those little perks as part of joining the channel. So, and joining the channel is not expensive per month, but it makes a huge difference as far as membership goes. So again, great ways to support us. Also down below, there is the Teespring store and the TeePublic store. The TeePublic store is the newer one, but we got some really cool merch at both. We've had a few sales lately, so we really appreciate anybody that's picked up some Trekyards merchandise, as it is another way, a different way to show your support and to help out the channel as well. So if you can do so, consider doing so. The links are down below in the description of every video, and there's also stuff to Eagle Moss and stuff down there as well, so discount codes and things to help you guys out. So welcome back. We are going to be talking about our Star Trek Prodigy news. Cast revealed, as well as character names and some brief character descriptions. So we're going to talk a little bit about those and see what we can suss out from all this. So should make for an interesting live. So all right, 61 of you here, 42 likes, guys. Hit that like button. It's a super easy way for you to make a difference. Just hitting that like button makes a big deal, and makes a big difference. So if you can, please do.
I'm back.
The Samuels are back. We got another super chat from Olivia Julius of $10. Thank you very much,
Double
Olivia.
President fun. Goodness.
Did you know Stewart's reviewed Samuel's hair tribble? There is a new app and 3 modes: off, on, and death to your enemy. It's even tell if you're Canadian. If you're Canadian, it will say sorry before attacking.
Well, she forgets there's a 4th mode, and it's glory to you and your house. So it just purrs you in a gloriful way, you know.
Olivia Julius, $2. Donating money for off draft. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes. Now I've actively not looked this in any depth, because that's the point of this. So that, you know, good to remind us who the characters are, but as in picture-wise, but we know nothing about them anyway. But obviously this shows us the actors. We'll see if anything familiar, maybe even just in the in shows we may not remember them from, because most actors start somewhere small. In fact, even watching older films, it's always great to see who become bigger actors as nobodies in the context of the movie. You know, actors go through being famous, so who knows who might know. So we both got the actors and the character breakdowns, so it should give us more hints about the overall show, because you would think a show is made up by its characters, as in their actions and feelings and ways of going determine where the show goes. You would think there'd be enough clues here to what the show might be.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about the character breakdowns. I have read them over,
Okay.
And there's some interesting callbacks to some older stuff, which is nice. So I'm looking forward to talking about those and maybe figuring out some details about the show around that. So it should be fun.
But first,
we welcome all your input as well. If you think of anything or know anything that we don't, by all means, let us know.
We need your input. We love it. But before we go through the actual cast, I do want to look at the 4 screen caps they released, because those are the first actual in-show. I mean, they might be like promotional images, but the way they're presented, they feel like, okay, maybe slightly more colorized versions, but you know, shots from the show.
Yeah.
They're in an order here, and you'll see them on the live. But the first one, now I want to know what you guys think. The first one is this purple chap. Now we're not gonna say necessarily the look or feel like Star Trek, but breaking down the visual effect quality, etc. So this is Brett Gray as Dahl. What did you think of the visual effects quality of this? Any sort of thoughts?
It looks great. The description they have here is...
Well, I don't want to get to the characters yet. I just want to look at the pictures from the actual show.
Yeah.
If anything stands out to you visually before we go into detail.
Just looking at like either a window or a view screen. It could be the view screen on the new bridge. Who knows? But I love the animation style so far. I'm really looking forward to this because I wanted a show like this in Star Trek for a long time with this kind of animation style. As you remember, when Lower Decks was coming out, I was kind of like, not a fan of that animation style, but it kind of won me over. This one might be the opposite. I might love it going in and hate it as I watch it, but I'm excited. The nebula looks good. Like, oh, we're on a different picture. Never mind.
I said the purple guy.
Well, the other picture has the purple guy in it too, so that's why.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking, why is it? You think this is a window? That's a hell of a view screen. I was like, it's a great, Stuart. Very, very ambitious statement there. It's a great.
You must have a different
yes, there's two
article up with different order.
Yeah, I just whatever order Premiere loads in. But I can go to the view screen shot. Yes. It's hard to tell if they're stylized or true representations. I'm assuming they're kind of a hybrid. You know, they picked more artsy looking. If I brighten this up, I mean, that certainly says to me view screen window a la Discovery.
Yeah.
I think they're going to continue that trend another step, which is certainly a shame. Double canonize into the future. So at a certain point, the more they use it in the present future, the more we say, well, they've always, of course, Window's the next big thing, so we've got to stop our annoyance, because the more they show it, the more canon it is in the present. You'll have to step backwards.
Yeah. Well, it could just be a big window on an observation deck. It doesn't have to be the view screen window. It could also just be literally a view screen. You got the lines above it. So, but then again, yes, they'll probably go with the view screen / window.
One thing I'm noting by the shots is they're an anamorphic widescreen, like Discovery seasons 2 and 3 were, giving that more cinematic feel. They've even got lens flares, which often the way lens flares appear dependent on the lens you use, and an anamorphic widescreen which creates different lens flary looks. This to me says that's deliberate. So they might be going for quite a cinematic flare rather than...
Pardon the pun.
Yeah, thank you. Wow. Because maybe they're trying to appeal to... kids are still, broad statement, but quite smart. But if you give them something that looks cinematic as well, then you might be able to, colourful and cinematic. And might appeal to them more than baby looking or simplistic. Lower Decks is more of a Family Guy style. This is more high end, but high end might grab people more.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing. A lot of people have been commenting about how this is a show for kids, so don't expect much. And I'm like, well, you could be surprised. Like, was Rebels for kids or Clone Wars?
Clone Wars was meant to be at the start. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got kind of that style, but the storytelling became quite involved. Who knows what could happen with this? I hope that's the case with this one. I hope it's very reminiscent of Clone Wars.
Well, I think writers, writing for children specifically and exclusively will get tiresome after a while, because you can't tell overly complicated stories. You can't tell overly deep stories. You can't, if you're going for literally just for children, 3 to 10, 3 to 12. I mean, they're only going to be able to understand so much in storytelling, and so that's what Clone Wars evolves over time, and so by the end of it, it's not for children at all. That said, those that started watching it when they were children are now adults, so therefore obviously the audience has grown, so you follow the audience.
Yeah.
But if say 7 seasons has gone for this, and it was aimed at 10-year-olds in season 1, it was aimed at 10-year-olds in season 7. Those 10-year-olds are now 18, basically, so they won't want the same content. So that's why if you start like Toy Story, if you start with a more interesting, well-told general story that happens to have a more child slant, but not really in the context, and it works for everybody. If you slant it for children, limiting it, and even rewatch value, because if you go back and watch it as an adult, you're thinking, oh, that's basic,
Yeah, and No You is right. He said Clone Wars grew with the audience. Yeah, absolutely. Plus, they were getting the demographics on who was watching, and I think they might have tailored a bit to that as well, because they didn't expect the older ones to be watching quite as much. But
although it's also that was also a war story, so it can only go so childish. It's a clone war.
Yeah,
it was always going to be a bit more vicious and gruesome by the end, or whatever.
But they're killing robots, so that doesn't count. That's
well, yeah, but there's still violence. Violence by its very nature. This does not have innate violence, except them being troubled younger people. So hopefully they've gone the smarter route. I think they have, because the team involved seems a little bit smarter than Kurtzman would let on.
Yeah.
Because you want to sell to the most people possible. If you just sell to the children, your demographic actually gets smaller over time because they grow up.
Dave Stelzer throws in $2. Remember Tellarites? They're back in Pog form. Yeah, we'll talk about the characters in a minute. Sean Corpier, $5. Hello, missed the beginning. What's the news on the new show? New trailer? No, just some 4 new images.
Actual in-show images.
Yep. And then character names and brief breakdowns of the characters and also casting. So
it's a lot, really. It's more than we got for Lower Decks, which is just like, oh yeah, here's a poster and some people we don't know who they are. It's actually quite a dense breakdown.
Mark Lawrence, $2, makes a good point. Could that be a shuttle bay? It absolutely could be. That could be a shuttle, like either sitting there on the right, and that could be like a console, kind of closer in foreground. I don't know, but it could definitely be a shuttle bay, and hopefully the shuttle bay door will close at some point.
Yeah, based on perspective, I doubt it's a shuttle bay, but I like the it being like a big observation room. Blast, blast shield, hey.
Blast shield up, blast shield down.
Yeah. Deborah says, okay, kind of like Farscape instead of a prison ship. They found a lost Federation ship. Yes, actually. Farscape was more gritty, I'm sure. Damn, that's a good show.
Maybe this is their version of a stellar cartography room, or
that'd be fun. Yeah.
Something like that. So, anyway, we'll go back to that other shot of the character there.
It's interesting. It's a very. I don't know if I can place my finger on what style of animation it is, because it's not. It looks like a comic book slightly, in still form, but I'm sure in motion it would lose that a little bit. I don't know. What do you think of how it looks and feels? It's less artistic in terms of like cinematic, but is it real enough looking? Is it fake enough looking? Is it?
It's just right. Like I said, it has that Clone Wars feel to it. I think. Like imagine this in motion. It'll run Clone Wars footage right beside it. I can see them like being very, very similar. So,
although I assume you mean the new series of Clone Wars where it looks a lot better because they improved a lot.
Yeah,
the early seasons had a lot more of a bland look. Yeah. This is certainly it's like because there's the skin to me. There's so much variation in skin shading that it kind of pops in its own way. Although look at the ear, look how low detail the ear is and the eyebrows are, but the skin has a real like. Yeah, there's so much contouring and so much smoothing that it feels like they've got decent character models, but they're stylizing stuff like, what's that hair? It's a block of strand of polygon, but the face looks really detailed, but not the things on the face. So it's an interesting choice to kind of maximize smoothness but limit detail. So is it? God, can you imagine being the artist that has to invent a new style each time? God damn.
I know, right?
Boy. Which pitch do you want to go to next?
The one of the girl, I guess. Gwyn is her name, but shows off a little bit of detail on her clothing and her hair. I like the hair overall. I'm not a huge fan of where it attaches to the sculpt, though. It seems very JJ Klingon-like in that regard. But she's an alien, so that's fine. It's just not exactly what I would expect based on how it looks, in the braids. But it does look good. Again, more lens flares in this one. This could be a very lens flary show, which
would be an odd choice.
Might not be a great choice exactly. It's going to automatically draw comparisons with the Kelvinverse or JJ stuff. So,
and we know this show was development after all the licenses were brought back together. So this show has no limitations when it comes to licensing. It could be in any of the universes, pulling from any of the universes, etc., etc. It's got the And this one I like it. I like the look of the character. I mean, it doesn't obviously doesn't say Star Trek, but it's obviously not going to. A new alien, new look. If this says Star Trek to you, your brain's broken because it's meant to be totally new. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's if you looked at the crystal planet from Lower Decks, you wouldn't say it looks like Star Trek. It's a new thing. You know what I mean? You couldn't tell, but it gives me a very sort of Mass Effect vibe and that. Very artistic lighting. And this is definitely a stylized shot rather than from the show. Maybe it's like one of her, walks into a room, but they've over stylized it a bit. But it's visually nice. They understand lighting. They've got, although in this one the skin tones they're not going for that photoreal even close. It's just an interesting choice. Like you can see the blockiness of the nose, how the nose shape is actually like has lines to it, which implies it's not smooth. It's odd. It's good odd though. It gives a character. It doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't feel photoreal, which lets you get away with a lot of stuff because it doesn't look photoreal. So it's an interesting stylized for sure.
think it's probably safe to say these 4 images too are also from the first episode, would be my guess. But the next one's actually interesting. This is Rock, the Rock Talk character. Looks like it's a she apparently, and it looks like she's going to be doing some welding. Now this looks like almost like either a cropped image, or it's going to be a zoom out, or a possible zoom in to what they're doing. I could see like zoom out and you see the ship and you see the welding and stuff, but the detail here is pretty great actually. I love the goggles and the rock-like appearance. But no, I think it looks good.
Yeah, it gives me massive flashbacks to the first 09 trailer. Them welding the Enterprise. I mean, it's almost the exact same angle, but I do like the shading. I like the depth. I like the big color variation on the rockness. It's those subtle things that they help. You know, it's called good texturing, and even the metal. It just has a good vibe to it. And obviously, these things, once you build a world, being on a ship the whole time, having the characters, you build in. If you build in good quality to the models, in day one, every episode looks better. So I appreciate that so far. But I mean, it definitely has a high budget feel, which is nice. I wonder what their production time really is. I wonder if they're already starting. Well, no, they've already recorded part of season 2. I wonder if they're already starting to produce season 2. Because as we've talked previously, it's no longer a case of it comes out when it's done. It's where in the schedule are you going to lie? I wouldn't be surprised if some of these shows have like either most of them done or just about done by the time they're meant to come out, because they can't just come out. They've got to be in a list. So I wouldn't be surprised they're already starting on season 2 right now, which is great. Get ahead of the curve, Yeah.
Guys, 54 likes with 85 people here. It's good to see 85 people, but hit that like button, guys. It's a quick way to help us out. And if you're able to super chat, by all means, please do. We'd like to hear your thoughts on these images and some of the character descriptions that we're going to get into. So by all means, if you can, speak out. Let's see. No You says Sigh. That separate licensing thing wasn't a real thing. It was a rumor without any proof. CBS even said it wasn't a thing. Discovery was allowed to use whatever they wanted from the previous series. Oh yeah, because we can believe CBS. Anyway.
Yeah. It's not as if we don't know people on the inside and talk to people at the time who worked on things, and it's not like we don't know things, and not at all.
Because it actually was a thing, so
just was different to what you think. But there's a reason why Lower Decks suddenly had everything and anything JJ. Like, we're not saying Discovery and Prime are different. We're saying the JJ and Prime are different. So that's why you suddenly hold JJ things inside Lower Decks, because that licensing we mean. Discovery irrelevant. Who cares? Whatever. Complicated. Not getting into it. But that's licensing we mean, which is fact.
Yeah. So yeah, those are the 4 images, and I'm excited. I honestly am. I think it definitely gives me like that, like I said, the Clone Wars or the new Star Wars kind of animated style, and I think it's going to be great.
not the flying.
Well, no,
it's good.
No, that's totally different. Yeah, but I've been wanting a CG animated Star Trek show for a while, so I'm very happy about this. I just hope it's a good show.
And I'm getting the vague sense from these. I mean, these are probably. My sense from these are stills from the show that they've then picked, re-rendered with more settings, and then added more Photoshop on top to make it look sexy, which is absolutely fine way of doing it. That's not an issue. But this implies to me they are going to go for some level of artistry, even though it's a kids show. It's not going to be a dumbed down thing, at least visually, because you might as well make a good show. Kids can appreciate good artful stuff, even if it's subconsciously. A good image is a good image. But yeah, we have a full cast breakdown. Meet the cast, all 6.
Yes.
Did anybody stand out to you? Or did you know anybody?
One in particular, his name is Zero. Turns out he's a Medusan, which is one of the characters from the animated or the original series. Let's see. The Medusan was in one of the containment boxes. Nobody could look at it. That's the episode with Pulaski. That was just on TV literally yesterday. But she was blind, so she could look at the Medusan and not go crazy. So this guy is a Medusan who built a robotic suit around his body so that people wouldn't see him and go crazy. So I thought that was really cool to tie in the Medusans into this.
And then traveled to the Delta Quadrant for some reason. And
well,
and then went to
didn't
prison.
know where they were from, I don't think. Yeah. And that was the episode, the TOS episode was Is There No Truth in Beauty? Just in case anybody's wondering. So.
Yeah, because I hadn't got to the chart. I was just looking at the picture of all the people. But Angus Emir is 0. I mean, that's an interesting callback, though, because most fans won't jump at that reference because it's one part of TOS.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's not in a bad way, just there's so many things of TOS. But it's such a non-important reference that they get credit for it, even though it doesn't mean much. It's just but as you've said with Enterprise, they didn't have to invent a new species to get the same effect. So few rules are invented for that species, so they just say, oh yeah, it's this race. What do I know about them? Oh, nothing. Cool! We can invent everything. But you still make it core to Star Trek. It just, even though it doesn't look, sound, or feel like Medusan, doesn't matter, it is a Medusan. That's good.
Yeah, because originally we had speculated that it was a robot, and we're like, robots really aren't a part of Star Trek.
That's true. Yes.
Generally. So
well remembered when you said that.
When I read that, I was like, actually, that's pretty impressive. Tying in something TOS and kind of subverting our expectations a little bit when we see this suit that he made. But no, that's pretty great. I was excited to read that. There are a few other characters here that tie into other things as well. So
a non-corporeal, genderless, energy-based life form, which gives me Lower Decks flashbacks as well. That little ball that came in and said, "Hey, so did we know anything from the episode although we saw their ship, their piss poor ball ship thing,
yeah,
super advanced, great, thing.
Didn't know much about them really. So
Medusans were a highly intelligent, telepathic, and empathetic non-corporeal race. This is a memory alpha I'm reading. Their thoughts were the most sublime in the galaxy, but their physical appearance was exactly the opposite. The appearance was so utterly hideous to humanoids that the sight of Medusan rendered any viewer mad. This afterwards caused death by massive organ failure. Jesus Christ, that's graphic. Vulcans are capable of viewing Medusans, but only with the use of specially filtered visors. For this reason, Medusans usually use an opaque carrier pod when interacting with other species. Medusans were renowned for their navigational abilities. I think we know their part then. And also they may use starships. Sometime prior to 2399, Rios of the La Serena deleted Medusan navigational techniques from the ship's emergency navigational hologram. So that was already mentioned in Picard.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So what was the purpose of that in the episode? I can't quite recall the Pulaski one.
I can't recall either.
So I don't remember them being, even though they were in it, they're not the most important part of the episode. It was more about the...
There was something about the Enterprise. They needed to navigate the Enterprise, and they needed the Medusan's navigational capabilities. So it melded with Spock, and Spock was speaking as both the Medusan and Spock. And then when he put the Medusan back in the container, he forgot his glasses, and they thought he was blind. Or mad or whatever, but it turns out because of the Vulcan inner eyelids, it was fine. So,
cool.
But I don't remember exactly. It was something about navigation, and they were stuck in like a blue nebula thingy. So,
well, I mean, non-corporeal. So then the question is, how did a Alpha Quadrant race get to Delta Quadrant, or were they Delta Quadrant race first?
Well, they're navigators. They could have found some corridors or, another way. Plus, this is the future. This is post-Voyager. So
yes. It's post-Voyager, pre-Picard.
Yes. So who knows what the state of the galaxy is at that point. So.
Cool. Like I said, easy points for canon, even though it doesn't really mean much. But it does. Cool. But in terms of the actual, people... Does Angus Emir then stand out to you? Does anybody stand out to you there rather than the characters?
Nope.
None of them at all?
Not a one, no.
Oh.
I was surprised by the age of the girl that plays Rock. Because the actress, she's actually... Well, it doesn't say how old she is, but she's quite young, as you can tell from the picture, so...
which is, you expect like a big huggable giant kind of like Sully from Monsters Inc. But
or the rock guy from the MCU. I forget his name. Right, that's my buddy Mick.
I don't know if I picture that voice, but I see the joke.
Yeah,
But now female and or at least sounding high pitched. I mean, we say that, but Bart Simpson voiced by a lady, so just high pitched doesn't mean girl.
Yeah, and apparently the character is an 8-year-old girl from Brykar. And Brykar is mentioned. Brykonians are a Federation race that was included by author Peter David in the Starfleet Academy TNG era series novel with a character named Zach Kebron. And it was created for New Frontier and now is in Prodigy, which is cool.
So
and the fact that the character's only 8, like, I get Kess vibes because it's welding. It's obviously very intelligent, So
well, there's one of those shows. Well, Kaylee from Firefly was like 15, and she was the genius, fixer. So it's a well-trodden trope of having them be the fixers. Although, as you said, 8 in years, but dog years, whatever, could be many more years for them. Interesting choice, and so another Alpha Quadrant race, even though they're in a Delta Quadrant prison. Interesting. I mean, hey, that's cool. I just expect them all to be random aliens that we never heard of, but to have 2 be at least mentioned is quite not what I was expecting.
Yeah. We should open up the article that I sent you and get the pictures of them as we talk about each one, though, instead of all of them. Might be a good idea. Sean, $5.
Thank you.
Remember that the Brykar was in the Star Trek series Peter David wrote. Yes. Again, I haven't read any of the New Frontier stuff. I have some of the books. I just haven't got around to reading them. So, but I love that tie-in. I love the beta. Like, the Lower Decks and now this show are really kind of pulling that stuff in and making it more canonized, which I think is fantastic. So.
Well, I mean, they own all the books, even though the books aren't canon. Although it does.
Yeah.
If you start doing that, though, does that make the books canon? Especially the older ones, which just do whatever the hell they want. But obviously, if they don't describe the aliens as if they did back in the book, then who's to say? Yeah. It is hard to say.
Well, it describes the character as an unusually bright 8-year-old from Brykar. Rock is a bit shy, but not when it comes to her love for animals. She's voiced by this Riley Alzraki, daughter of prolific voice actor Carlos Alzraki. So
prolific, but unknown to me by name.
Yeah,
well, that's okay.
Most voice actors are.
Yes, they are. Well, that's okay. I mean, cool. Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, now you say that, I can kind of see the I mean, childlike is fair on the face. There is a certain
Yeah.
But now you say girl as well, so I can see it. Huh. Weird. Now I'm surprised that one of the actors doesn't stand out to you specifically, because he stands out to me for sure. Is Jason? It's Jason in that. I'm not going to say his second name because he's a very odd character actor who is. He's sort of plays the same guy. I know him originally from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, where he plays an undercover cop that is so long undercover that he goes native with them. Hence his absurdly big beard and he's manic and crazy and killery and insane. And then he's also in other shows being manic and assassiny and killery and just crazy. He doesn't feel very sane as an actor. That said, he's in the recent show I watched, The Good Place, where he actually played a very insane at the start and then good by the end, but a very odd choice. So definitely is wacky and a bit dark and a bit distinct. So very strong character actor. I don't think a lot of range, but you don't necessarily hire actors for their range. You hire them to act a part. So,
He looked vaguely familiar to me, but I can't picture anything that I've seen him in. So
he annoyed me in Brooklyn Nine-Nine because he was the same joke every time, and I didn't like him from his first appearance, and he didn't improve on his one joke, so he just got more and more obnoxious, and it's like you're just forcing this so hard, and it doesn't. It might have worked once or twice, but so interesting though. So this character be pretty pretty at you.
Yeah. Well, his character is Jankom Pog. There's the Pog joke. 16-year-old Tellarite. Tellarites are known to relish an argument, and Jankom is no different. Regardless of opinion, he will always play devil's advocate for the sake of hearing all sides.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
So
it
again,
doesn't really look like a Tellarite. We kind of speculated about that when we thought he might be whatever Neelix is, Talaxian, because he kind of has a Talaxian look to him.
yeah, he doesn't have a Tellarite look at all.
No.
I mean, okay, fat Tellarite, sure,
Yeah.
but then 16 as well, or however old you said. Yeah, Tellarite.
Yeah,
that's a very odd choice. I wouldn't have called Tellarite. No. I mean, not to say we've ever seen with Tellarites with their shirts off enough to know they have under whatever, but because Tellarites have big beards and he has no beard at all.
He's only 16. Maybe he hasn't grown one yet.
Sure.
Sean, what's in $5?
Hey.
Commander Shelby was in the series. Yes, the New Frontier series. Yes, knew that. And Matthew DeFritas, $2. Jason Mozakas is great in the League. Okay, cool.
Yeah, but I can definitely see that one, him being argumentative, and able to talk quite quick and.
And Sergeant Montgomery, $2. I bet Rock Tuck can open a jar of pickles. Yep, she's the pickle opener.
Yeah.
It's gonna. I don't know that's how these names are supposed to be pronounced. Like we'll find out obviously as we go into it. Same thing with the Cerritos.
Well, yeah, you can't judge us for not knowing because we couldn't know yet.
Yeah.
And if
we're trying.
And if we're in other countries, our accents would say other ways of saying it. So until we hear it, we can't know. But it doesn't tell us much about the brief, just age and race, and then he's a Tellarite, because that's what Tellarites do. So he's a conventional Tellarite. But it certainly adds a dimension to the cast to have that argumentative personality, because now you have to have talking through problems, which is good for comedy and drama. But and it'll let them actually explore the Tellarite race at all, because we've never really had a developed one at all ever. So this will be our chance, especially if he talks about back home. But a third Alpha Quadrant race in the Delta Quadrant. The hell's happening, Stuart?
Yes, we have Medusan, the Tellarite, and what's the other one?
Was there not the... Just two then?
So far, yes.
You're right, I thought the Rock was one for some reason. We've done three, but yes, two are Alpha Quadrant.
Well, the Rock guy might be if he's in the New Frontier novels. So
yes, there you go. Yes, that's what I was going by.
Yeah. Sorry, I just completely forgot about that.
Yes. So three out of three. That's really weird for Delta Quadrant show. I mean, yes,
it could be a ship that got sucked into a wormhole or something, like a transport ship or something.
But they're not from the ship. Well.
And they were jailed for being in somebody's territory, trespassing. I don't know. Like. There's got to be an explanation for this, for all the Alpha Quadrant.
Or maybe it's something as simple as once Voyager got back, he thought, there's unlimited resource in Delta Quadrant. Let's start creating expedition ships, and many races tried, and some got lost, and then split up, and then. But yeah, that's a very odd choice.
Well, let's do the other there's like the two main characters, so we'll do those last because we've kind of talked about the other ones. There's this blob type thing, which kind of reminds me of from the Orville, what's his name? Yeah, Fid. This guy's name is Murph, though, and he's voiced by D. Bradley Baker, who also looks a little bit familiar to me. Does SpongeBob SquarePants and Dora the Explorer stuff, so. But this blob creature, age and species is unknown, but Murph is an enduring, indestructible blob. Yeah, with endearing, indestructible blob with curiously good timing and an insatiable appetite for ship parts. So he eats ship parts, I guess. Huh. Don't know what to say about that. Cool name though, Murphy.
I mean, I did I did think as I went into this, looking at them all, they've definitely gone for children's names. Dal, Jacob Pog, Murph, Zero, Rock Tank. I mean, these are, you know what I mean? They're like, oh, it's Rock Tank, it's Jacob Pog. I mean, fine, whatever, it's a kid's show. But, Murph, you just want to be laughed at, It doesn't make me take it seriously, but again, it's also a blue and purple blob. So of course I'm not going to take it seriously, but, weird. Weird.
Yeah.
But I mean, if we'd said, if we were back in the Void era, Kess, what sort of name is Kess, or Neelix, or Tuvok? These aren't real, these aren't names, or Kira, Kira knows, whatever, but, to get used to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got no problem with the names, so.
But they're clearly designed for kids. Murph is it's cute for kids. It's sellable kids merchandise. I imagine these are also been designed for merchandising, because you want kids to buy them, which makes sense.
And there's no information on age on this one. Like we've got ages for the other one, like 8, 16, 17. But this one, no age, because it's also an unidentified species, right? So.
Well, my assumption is age doesn't really matter to this one.
Probably not.
It's so just being. But Indestructible Blob, which is a bold claim. Anyway, has a bold claim, kind of reduce a bit of the tension. Curiously good timing. What a curiously odd comment. Are you saying luck is a special ability of this creature? Which we're not necessarily against.
Probably.
It was an entire theme of Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
I mean, but what do you think though? An insatiable appetite for ship parts. That's what? Now is that literal, or is that figment as in learning
like,
about?
Yeah, or likes collecting them or something. The way it's worded, I assume it's going to eat them. Like it's got some kind of corrosive properties that I don't know. I don't know how that would be helpful unless you're on an enemy ship, I guess. But Chuck Egg Erla, €2. Thank you so much. First time here commenting. Just wanted to say hi. Well, welcome. Thank you very much. Make sure you're subscribed and click the notification bell icon. And hit like, guys. 107 people here with 71 likes. But thank you very much, Chuck, for speaking up. We love meeting new people, so welcome aboard.
I mean, you should always say hi.
Yeah.
Anybody.
Even in the regular chat. We try to read most of it, but sometimes it gets away from us a little bit.
Yeah.
And then somebody says here, where is it? Isn't D. Bradley Baker the voice of all the Clone Wars, Rebels, Bad Batch clones? Possibly, I'm not sure. Wouldn't be surprised.
Well, that'd be a very famous voice as in the context of sci-fi.
Yeah.
Let me look.
Area 51 says, Trekyards, curiously good timing equals highly intuitive? Possibly. Sean, again, $5. Murph 8 Janeway's mobile emitter. LOL.
So D. Bradley is Clone Troopers in Styles, Bad Batch.
Okay. I'm surprised that wasn't mentioned in the article. I don't know why they put SpongeBob and
kids, I guess.
Or the Explorer.
I assume Bad Batch isn't exactly a kids show, so.
Well, you'd probably be assuming correctly.
And in SpongeBob SquarePants, he appeared in 180 episodes as Fish Number 1, Bubble Bass, Perch Perkins, Harry, Creator, Fifi, Ben Glove, Baseball Announcer. So he's he's not actually a character in that, he's just playing lots of people. Ben 10, lots of people. Mickey Mouse, basically he's a prolific voice actor that's appeared in everything. Or at least, lots of kid stuff.
Kind of like the new Frank Welker.
And Clone Wars, he played Clone Trooper Captain. Yep, so he's the Clone Wars guy for Cody, that's a very distinct voice.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know.
He
Thank
you.
you.
Be in Star Trek and Star Wars, one of the few. Good for him.
Ooh, and he was the Frog Lady in Mando as well. Wow, that's cool. He made the frog noises.
Is that on there? Is that on? Is that uncredited? Doesn't show on his IMDb.
what Sergeant Montgomery said.
Fun.
But yeah. So the Yafid character from Orville, which is one of the best characters in Orville.
And he's actually in Orville as well, as Dr. Jorvik.
Wow.
So yeah, he's been in all three. That is not many. Hold on. Oh, but the voice of who's Dr. Jorvik then? God, to be an actor has been all three. That's fun.
Guys, we're at 75 likes. We have 103 people here. We can easily hit 100, so hit that like button, guys. 25 more likes.
Okay, so in episode 1, the one that's least memorable because it was so far away.
The dangerous banana.
Yes. He was. We remember when they're walking through the facility before they go talk about the science stuff, and there's a creature that comes out of the water and says hi. He's that guy.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Jorvik was chief botanist of the botany lab at Epsilon Science Station of Epsilon 2.
That's why I recognize his face.
Okay, cool.
Well, I mean...
Jesus, there's a lot of jobs.
Yeah, at least he's been in some really good stuff, so I mean...
he's been in everything at this point.
Bodes well.
You have to keep scrolling to find the more classic stuff, because... Well, hey. Anyway, yeah, cool. Who next?
Well, let's move on to the girl. Gwyn?
Like
Probably Gwyn by the looks of it.
Yeah. I recognize that.
Played by Ella Purnell. And it says a 17-year-old Va Naakt, who was raised on her father's bleak mining planet and grew up dreaming of exploring the stars.
Ah, okay.
Says she's an army of the dead. Does she play the... I don't know.
Kate Ward. She played Kate Ward.
Is that Batista's daughter? I think it might be. I don't know. Anyway.
She's in Kick-Ass 2, but I'm Maleficent. But I recognize her, but I haven't seen anything she's in. So.
Patrick O'Connell, $5.
Hey.
Star Wars is a Disney product. They may not want to promote a competitive network by mentioning that on Paramount's subsidiary. Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Fair enough. Very real world answer there.
So her and the other gent, Dow, are the two main characters I get the vibe of.
Dow.
But she's 17, and so is Dow as well, which we'll get to him in a second. But
it's positive that you get. This is obviously, I would guess, from that description, the more Trek orientated, as in exploration. Go out and do, and it's always nice to have an aspirational character. Not engineering focused, not random alien indestructible, more classic. But I'm assuming has that more bitter side, which is kind of Tasha Yar in a sense, just now alien, which is cool.
Yeah, I mean, so Va Naakt. There you go, Vanakt. Vernacular. Anyway, that's her race. So.
Oh yes.
Raised on a mining planet.
Cool.
Not much else to say about her, unfortunately.
But not the same as the others. A different vibe, which will be important, I'm sure.
Yeah. And then we got Dow, who is the other, I think the main character, played by Brett Gray, and he's worked on My Block and When They See Us, which I don't know what those are. But he plays a 17-year-old member of an unknown species. He fancies himself a maverick who, even in the toughest times, holds strong onto his unwavering hope.
Oh, that's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Maverick. I'm actually wearing the Top Gun shirt today.
Was that a deliberate connection, Stuart?
It wasn't, no, but
take credit.
Here we are.
Take credit, Stuart.
Yeah, I always take credit for things that, But anyway, yeah. So we actually, again, I don't understand unknown species. If they just don't know what species they are, or if they're just not telling us yet. I don't know why they wouldn't bother, because they've told us the other things. But anyway.
Yeah, well, obviously they would know their own species. But it tells us it's not a familiar one. It's all really they can go for. It makes sense to have the links to canon and not at the same time, but certainly the most, well, an odd look. But again, hope, that's good. You don't want dark and dreary. You can have dark and dreary. You can have people that feel hope push to dark and dreary, but start with a good place is a good place to start from.
Yes.
See, I say words good, Stuart. I say words good.
You do. You're fantastic. And negative Ghost Rider, the pattern is full to Area 51. Just Anyway, yes. So out of all these characters, I really am looking forward to Zero the most, I think. The Medusan. It's very interesting to bring in that TOS character again and actually learn more about the Medusans, possibly. So I also like the idea that he created a suit around himself so he can get around without having to be carried or transported everywhere, like in TOS.
Well, it's been enough years. I mean...
Yeah. And I'm glad it's not a robot. Because we were saying originally, like, don't know about that.
Well, let's give them wonderful credit where it's due. Out of these 6, we had worries about a robot, and we had confusion about the races, but now 3 are known canon species, or at least now canon. That's a big deal, because this is a show that's confusing and odd, and they can make all the mistakes or all the triumphs, and using canon is the biggest triumph they can do. Because it's canon, you know?
Yes. Using it properly.
And no robot, good job. But, I mean, kids won't know that, which is fine. Like, they won't necessarily get that, but that's fine, It's like they get all the fun of a robot without actually having a robot. Cool.
Yeah.
That's fine with
me. So we also find out that the kids commandeer a derelict Starfleet ship in the Delta Quadrant, which you already knew, meet the emergency training hologram based on Captain Janeway. I thought it said something there about an engineering ship, but it doesn't. I thought it did. Don't know where I read that earlier.
Maybe you're just going crazy. Maybe you've seen the Medusans, Stuart. Now you've seen one, now you're going crazy. That might be the only answer.
Yes. You can remove the filter off your Skype, so your hideousness has drove me crazy. I mean, what? Stephen W. Fathry puts in $5. Thank you so much. When Phlox was first shown to us in 2001, even John Billingsley did not know his species name. His alien race was unknown until they decided Denobulan. Yeah. So that could be the case with these ones as well.
Although you would think that this being animated where a lot more prep has to go on early, because you can't just build the sets then go film the next day. Everything has to be carefully animated, so everything needs more prep than a live action. If you had Star Trek Picard that changed their season finale like a few weeks before it was needed, you can't do that with animated. You just can't unless you shitty the quality up. So I would be surprised. I'm assuming it's a plot point. I would be very easy to say it's a plot point, not a confused thing. They know it's just a reveal, because they might be known. It was like if we'd known that certain characters appear at the end of Mandalorian, it would ruin the reveal. You have to hide certain things to have certain things make sense or pay off, etc., etc.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, guys, tell us, who are you most interested and excited for?
Let us know. Derek says, "Who did they cast for Janeway?" That would be Kate Mulgrew. Guys, we have 82 likes. We're not at the 100 yet. We need 18 more likes to get to 100. So if you guys can hit like, that'd be great. We're well over 100 viewers. So if you haven't hit that thumbs up button, please consider doing so. If you want to super chat a question or comment or thoughts or something that you know about this that we might not, let us know. And we would love to read those and chat with you guys about it. So that's what these are all about, is hanging out and kind of brainstorming with you guys. So
yeah, I mean, this might be our favourite new show. We don't know. Or it might be a solid medium. And you know what? I'll take solid medium over Star Trek Discovery Season 1.
Yeah.
Although I'm underwhelmed by the amount of people here. That this is quite a big reveal. I know we're obviously more into this fandom than a lot of people are. our job, but
Wait till the ship gets revealed, then we'll have a show to talk about.
That's true. That's true. But it's
usually the cast announcements are kind of like but this was more than just cast. This was also we're learning about the characters for the first time. So, and we've got lots more to talk about.
And getting the ages, it might seem mundane, but we certainly didn't get the ages for anyone else ever. The 32-year-old Burnham. It's like no. So it's on that edge because in reality, once they assuming one season is 1 year, they're going to be out of that preteen phase by season 2.
Yeah.
So they can be adults by season 3, and by season 7 they're my age. Well, no, season 10 they're my age. When I'll be 10 more years old. Oh.
Yep, that's how aging works.
Unless they do a time jump, Stu. Unless they do a time jump and they get to my age in season 3.
I've been slowing down my aging process so you could go closer to me in age, but
so
just haven't been catching up fast enough.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, it's they threw a lot of information here. It doesn't really mean much at the end of the day until we see how they are. But they held on to so much information for so long. I just think they needed one more bit of juicy information in this.
I think we'll get it. It's starting to trickle out now.
Sure.
Like next will be the ship reveal, or I don't know what else.
Well, I think that'll be in the trailer. Because then in motion you can see many angles from it. Because that's the last big thing. Because they know a character can be good, but a ship is for lifetime. More Enterprise D pictures, more Enterprise D images have been sold than most cast in Star Trek. Maybe not Kirk's and Spock, but I'm pretty sure the Enterprise D have sold more than Riker and Picard, and in terms of figures and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Matthew DeFrieda says, I don't think we can assume that seasons are a year. Season 2 of Lower Decks is supposed to be in 2380.
Although we're not there yet, so we don't know.
Yes.
And sure, no, I get that, but we also shouldn't assume they're not in a year. Until they...
Because every other time they have been. So...
Yeah,
really good assumption.
It doesn't matter so much for cartoons. And actually, I think Lower Decks will do it less than these shows, because Lower Decks, once they push forward in canon, they then have to lose things. As in, somebody's on this position, and in this position, whereas if they stay without 1-2 years, they can argue everyone's still where they are, etc., etc. Because if they're
like The Simpsons, nobody ever ages. Or...
Yeah. It's like if they're doing linear time, then by season 8, you've now got Picard season 1, and now you've got, oh dear. Especially if you want them to stay ensigns. If the joke is that Mariner's an ensign for 10 years, well, that doesn't quite work as well with it's only over, say, 3 years, and you can have 10 years of stories.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Sean Carpier, $5.
Hey.
Did someone say ship? I know nothing yet. What month in 2021 will this come? December? LOL. No idea. We don't even know if it's coming out in 2021. We would assume so, but we honestly don't know. So
Well, I think they've announced this year, but that's a pretty vague...
Yeah.
Although, we're already halfway through this year. Although, boy, I've been busy as all hell at the start of this year, or the half this year, so I'm like, oof.
Yeah, the year's gone fast, though. It really has. Unbelievably fast. Soon it'll be August, and we'll have new Trek. So.
But I am happy to report that, although it won't be the same as the Season 2 version, but our Cerritos model is getting an upgrade right now. I won't say who, because it'll be fun to talk to them at some point about the process, because they're going to improve it the the Cerritos is by its very nature limited in its details, and for my version I was unwilling to not have a phaser strip, because that's insane. Of course they do. Like, you can't justify to me they don't. Notapure is fine, whatever, but phaser strips at least. But they're going to add some more details onto the design, and then, so when we come to the Lower Deck Season 2, we can show that off as a more of a photoreal version with better textures, like actual texturing rather than just cartoonness. So
looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, me too. Like how you interpret the design.
And our latest mystery box winner, T. Louise Allen, is here with $5. So thank you.
Boom.
I always want to know more about all the species we only get to meet briefly.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, well, absolutely. And don't worry, your mystery box will be on its way very shortly.
Yes. Oh, that's okay, Des. As long as you're here now. And hopefully work's not sucked. Because, busy's fine, but sucking busy is less good. Wait, unless that's your job, then.
Wow. Yeah, he went there.
And yes, Des, it does
9
look
more
good,
likes
CG.
to get to 100, guys. So hit that like button. Let's get to 100. Des says CG looks good. Yes, absolutely.
And I've often been asked, I've often said, no Trek is better than bad Trek. But medium Trek is okay to have than no Trek. You know what I mean? Like a 6 out of 10, like the animated series, is not great Trek, but it's not bad Trek for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Stanleys say, are we thinking another caretaker scenario for the show? Random aliens taken from all over. Possibly. I'm thinking more of like a navigational error or like a wormhole or some kind of anomaly. But it starts out, the premise is they're all imprisoned. So that's interesting in and of itself. Are some of them from the Alpha Quadrant? The other ones aren't, but they meet up and they have to like work together to get out. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but it could be a caretaker situation, literally. I just kind of doubt that they'll do that. I don't think they'll make that Voyager tie-in like that. But then again, we got Janeway, so who only knows?
Yeah, I mean, I would be fine with the concept that it's just more caretaker, bring other ships in. Maybe, because if it's been doing that for a long time, maybe 70 years ago they brought in a Tellarite ship. That ship had its own adventure, settled, made a people, now the Tellarite planet. But, his Voyager, his caretaker, it went that way. In the opposite direction, because they weren't trying to go home. They, So I wouldn't... instead he said they sent everyone home, but some obviously fell through cracks, I'm sure. You can't do that too many times. You can't say, every alien race, because they only ever saw Equinox, that's it. So maybe for one, I'd be fine with, not for two. But the Medusans can just travel, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure they have some navigational tricks up their sleeves at least. But the Tellarite and the Bricknar, don't know much about the Bricknar because I haven't read the novels, so I don't know where they hail from, but...
And then you could also say that something as simple as a Tellarite ship went to the Delta Quadrant 400 years ago, and it took by that warp took 120 years, and then they made a people and made a planet, and there you go. It'd be an odd story, but there's nothing... I've not got anything against that, We all want to try... the Klingons, hey, there was a D7 in Voyager that travelled to the, for prophecy, so that was weird. I'm fine with that for...
Yeah. Smart Smear, speaking of underused races, did you guys hear that the new lower deck security chief is going to be a previous race that hasn't been seen in Starfleet yet? I had not heard that, no.
No, news to me.
But that's interesting.
Very broad. Could literally be one of hundreds of things, and that's okay. Yeah. Maybe it's those fish guys from TNG.
There you go. Or the lizards or the wolfmen that were hunting each other on the one deck.
Yes. Maybe they finally made peace and had babies, and now there's a hybrid. TV True, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Squadra Course, $2. Art is nice. Hope the show feels more like Trek. Yeah, so far I'm not getting much of a Trek vibe from the art styles. Like I said, it definitely invokes like Clone Wars to me. So it has a Star Wars vibe. Even the characters have Star Wars.
Just more organic, like it's more curved. Clone Wars is more military, more flat, and more.
Yeah. But we'll see. I'm praying for the best, obviously, but the whole this is a kids show thing kind of like been sitting in the back of my mind going. Yeah. But I don't think it's going to be too bad. So,
I mean, it depends what the story is, because they're in the Delta Quadrant, which lets them if this is post Voyager, then you can say maybe the Herodian have got a new foothold, the Vidians have cured. They can have lots and lots. That was the thing about Voyager versus DS9. DS9 invented so few races, they're so unmemorable that you can barely name any. Voyager invented one new a week, and many of them are really memorable, and there's a big spectrum. But they made a galaxy. You know, if you tried to do a show in the Gamma Quadrant, it'd be basically a fresh start. You couldn't. There's nothing there. Delta Quadrant, no, full of stuff, right? Especially if you've got like X-Borg that maybe there's things you could do with that are quite big for story. But if the story is just we're traveling, so there's got to be a really good story meat anyway, and then you can incorporate stuff from Voyager and invent new stuff as well. But
there's lots of potential from Voyager, because Voyager caused a lot of issues, both good and bad, depending on the point of view, right? So they run into a certain species runs into another Starfleet ship, and guess what? Look, Janeway's still here. Or, that could cause a few problems because Voyager wasn't welcomed by everybody. So, yeah, there's definitely a lot of potential for a lot of storytelling there. So,
because Voyager felt like Star Trek because it was live action and the right uniform, the right ship,
and exploring new shit all the time.
But they had the right fate. Everything was there, but they were exploring new. If this is a Starfleet ship that feels like a Discovery ship, they won't feel like Star Trek. With aliens that really don't, we thought it was a Talaxian, and that's pushing it. So they don't feel like Star Trek characters. And if they talk about exploration, that could be lots of shows. So if the ship, however, feels like a very TNG era ship, like modern TNG, then that's a great stepping stone. Every time we see the ship, it feels right. That'll ground us. If Janeway's in it as a big, big part, that'll help ground us a lot. But I would hope and assume that once we get the new politics of the environment, that most of the races will be the ones from Voyager, just with new, grander politics. Because that will help ground it, at least in the galaxy. Otherwise, it'll just be kids on a Discovery-looking ship. As I say Discovery broadly, like that sort of big art design. Bridge is too big, bridge window, copper, and who the hell cares stuff. But I mean, even to the point of something as simple as the Kazon are back, and they make them scary. Because they're a good concept, just never done particularly well. And I could see them being, brought back in a really good way. They go to Kazon space, and they're vicious, and they're warrior-like, and they're cool. And it's like, wow, now we've got Kazon politics, and there's a Hirogen there, and there's,
Or there's Tom and Janeway's kids have grown up, and they're now teenagers, because it's right at that time. And the lizard people are looking for their parents. You never know. Because they were just ditched on a planet somewhere in the Delta Quadrant. Good luck. This is the evolution of the human species, apparently. Just dumped on a planet. Great. Good job. Thanks. Yes. T. Reed True says, have we any clue what their ship will look like? No, we do not yet. Trust me, we'd be all over that as Trekyards.
Yeah, they've not told us the dance sausage or shown us. But I think they're gonna wait for that to boom, here's a trailer, and it'll give a lot away. Like story stuff. I think it'll show Janeway, I think it'll show fighting an alien race that is quite powerful. Yeah.
Mark Lawrence, $2. They'll probably be a recurring foe after the ship. Probably. I like that. I mean, they're trying to get their hands on Starfleet tech. They've heard rumors about the advanced Starfleet tech from Voyager that was maybe given some of it to the Hirogen or whatever, and they want to get their hands on it, and they find a Federation signature, and it's this kid's ship, or these kids' ship. That would be kind of neat, actually. Yeah, I don't know.
Or what if the ship was sent? Now the Janeway, we'll ignore the Janeway hologram for a second, but what if the ship was intended to be a test ship to be sent to one of the races that Voyager met as a way of saying sorry or giving them something for communication. Gets lost, and so the mission is then to take it back to that race, and so the first season mission is like, hey, we need to go take it to the Ocampan homeworld, which is only 55 light years away, but it'll take us about 6 months. And then stuff goes on. So, a very simple plot to finish off the mystery of the ship. Then turns out the ship probably wasn't for that, etc., etc. Because it'd be very strange to have a Federation ship be the sidelined. I feel like the ship's mission should be one of the initial reasons. The ship should be a real character, although hopefully not with a big AI computer. That would be frustrating. But I mean, that's obviously I guess that's Janeway, isn't it? But it'd be nice if there was a reason for the ship to be there, and the ship played an important part, because not many ships would just end up in the Delta Quadrant
Well,
to make it important, make a difference.
it almost feels like that might be the case, considering that the holodeck training program is Janeway. Like, it's obviously after Voyager got back, and for some reason, I don't know if they choose Janeway's image to overlay on the training simulation, or if that was the character that was specific for that program, because she'd already been to the Delta Quadrant, and the ship, if it's getting sent to somebody, like you said, like the Ocampa, for example, somebody that they already know, kind of, and train them how to use it so they can become like the Federation branch in the Delta Quadrant. Seems a little bit of a stretch. But, that's interesting. Because it could be that they extended Federation membership to one of the people they had met in the Delta Quadrant via communication. And here's a ship. I don't know. I think that's something that, to me, doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't think Starfleet would necessarily do that. But it would explain the training hologram being Janeway.
I mean, they've presumably thought it all through. We said that about other shows, but presumably they have. But it's like I said, the ship can't just be because, there needs to be a reason, a rationale, and a thought process. So hopefully it'll be a real thing. Because if they can get a strong cell ship that just wins people over, it's good for everyone.
Well, 97 likes with 96 people here. If you haven't hit like yet, let's get 3 more likes, get to 100. Would be great. Gareth Fairclough throws in a Gareth Fairclough. Said it right that time. Gareth Fairclough throws in £5.
Thank you.
Not sure if anyone mentioned this already, but Gwyn is a Welsh boy's name, also the word for white in Welsh. Welsh folk will love that. Huh. Interesting. Thank you for sharing that. I said your name right this time. So, Oh, and we hit 100 likes. Amazing. Thank you so much, guys. That is awesome. If you haven't hit like yet, though, hit the like button anyway. Let's see how high we can get. Yeah. Sending the ship to Neelix, and it crashes. I mean, possibly. They left Neelix behind as an ambassador. So that would make a little bit of sense.
Yeah, that occurred to me straight away, but then, first of all, that limits you to the end of the Voyager journey, and to get anywhere else would take a long time. If you want to get to the Kazon, that's 7 years travel at high warp, and they're not going to be that much faster than the Voyager, because that's warp was extremely fast. So you'd assume it'd be in the middle of the journey, somewhere, and they also skip big parts because of networks and things. So where they place them on the placement, because if you're in the middle, then you can argue that both sides of the journey could jump into the other side, like the Kazon and the Hirogen. But if you're at the end of the journey, then you can't. It's like, why wouldn't you see the Vaudois? There's so many races that are worth bringing back.
Yeah.
It limits the pool a little bit down to just the Voyager ones, but there's a lot, and it might give us the answer to the Borg. Let's be fair, it might give us a Borg, ex-Borg colonies. We're going to do all that again.
Yeah. Mark Lawrence says Murph will probably replace a malfunctioning bioneural gel pack with his body in an emergency. Hey, I can see something like that happening. Absolutely.
That's pretty fun.
And considering he's unknown age and unknown species, it'd be interesting if he's actually young like the rest of the crew, because he's actually been detached from a bigger organism, and because he's so much smaller, he's actually younger. That might be something as well, like
different life cycle.
Yeah, exactly.
That's absolutely great.
And then they're just not letting us know that yet by saying unknown age. So
yeah, and maybe with that, memories come with that, because you only are a certain amount, and so that'll be part of the reveal, is to learn who they are really.
Yeah. So guys, which character on screen are you most excited about, or looks the best to you? Let us know. We'd like to talk about it. Honestly, I mean, we've hit a good super chat or a good like goal, but if we can get another 13 would be great. 120, as always trying to get more likes is awesome, and another super chats are light, but another 50 would be fantastic if possible. So if you're able to, please consider. We'd love to talk about anything you'd like to talk about. So just put it in a super chat and we will discuss. If you have any theories or ideas as to why this ship is there, why it's abandoned, how the kids find it, why there are people from the Delta Quadrant or the Alpha Quadrant in this crew, let us know. We'd love to read them. And
Dan quotes a Mulgrew thing, who I do remember because you did talk about the story once and we didn't quite cover it because we had stuff to talk about. But he says they escaped from their imprisonment and raced across the planet to find a defunct starship buried in the sands of the planet. So it's now while the screen cap of the ship looked Discovery era, which I guess it actually technically could be, which would be a real cop out.
Screen cap of the ship?
No, you said the view screen, the non-view screen. Like it doesn't. That's not TNG, is it? Clearly, that's not a But if they went, I imagine if it was a TMP era ship. No, it can't be because of Janeway. Damn it. But imagine if it was. Imagine if it was a, Star Trek 6. So it can't be that old. If it was a Janeway hologram.
The thing is, too, that could also be the prison facility. Like him looking out, like contemplating, like getting away from there. Like it could all be from the first episode, from the first 10 minutes. All those screen caps, like.
Or maybe he's being taken to a prison. Maybe they escape once they get to it, kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy 1. Okay, so assume that isn't the ship then. It's got a Janeway hologram, but the captain doesn't. The captain only works. It would still need to be a ship from after Voyager got home, otherwise Janeway wouldn't be an important captain, even to show as Captain Janeway.
Yeah.
But that said, it could still be an older ship with the newer hologram in the buffer. It being Janeway doesn't necessarily imply the ship was designed to go to the Delta Quadrant, or even slightly, because if they asked the ship, who can help us here in the Delta Quadrant, the computer would say, beep, 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 ooh, Janeway has the most experience.
Yes. Yeah, so there is, absolutely.
So it doesn't need to be designed for it. So it could be an older ship, although that would still be, you're sort of forcing the point, because if it was a TNG-looking era ship, they have a lot of fan love for that, because it'd be like, boom, art design,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we didn't get any real art design in Picard to pull from. I mean, we used the Discovery Bridge for the Shen He, so I guess the Discovery design, great, thanks. Bring it full circle. And then the La Serena isn't Federate, it's not Starfleet, so. But would they really invent a brand new? I guess the Cerritos.
That's the other thing. If it's an older ship that crashed, how would it have access to database that knows that Janeway is the most experienced person for the Delta Quadrant?
Older ship, newer database. I mean, there are Mirandas in DS9 war fighting front lines.
Yeah, but you're saying launched after Voyager got back.
No, I'm saying lost after Voyager got back. Doesn't mean it wasn't launched 50 years earlier. I'm saying they could still get away with having it be a TNG era, which was then refitted as they went. Got the new Federation OS 2741.2, came with Janeway as part of the knowledge base because it's just general update.
T. Louise Allen puts in $3, so thank you. Do we know if it's the future, present, or past? We're not 100% sure, but we're assuming it's post Voyager just because of the Janeway hologram, and it's a Captain Janeway hologram. So
Dan says 5 years after Voyager came home, which I do believe is right, but I'm saying the ship could be from 30 years before, 50 years before. Because then you get best of both worlds. Otherwise, you've got to think of a ship that's brand new, but then even more, why is it there, etc. Ships are tricky. That's why I like designing in canon, because then you have certain rules to follow, which are good, because it should feel like its own part of it. No, Sergeant Montgomery, that's my domain. I'm playing that story. You can't nick it.
Yeah. Squadron Course, I would kind of agree with you. It says I think there'll be something smaller and a new design. Yeah, I kind of agree. I'm hoping for a new design. If it's just like a Nova class, it's like, shit, now we don't have anything to talk about. But honestly, I think a smaller ship is very feasible for the size of the crew. So absolutely. It's the USS Crossfield. Yeah,
Nope.
of course it is.
Nope.
Can't be.
I bugsied that one.
So is Mars still on fire?
Depends who's
Probably
writing the show.
Yeah. The fire's now spread. It's spreading to Earth via space. That'll happen.
What is space fire? Yeah. It is amazing, though, to give us so much information, and yet, without the actual knowing the storyline,
yeah,
you can't deduce that much. Like, not, I mean, that much. I mean, some, but not that much. Whereas if you told us the storyline, it's just a missing piece of the puzzle. How they use all this information. That has how important story is,
well,
you know?
That's the other thing. I think if we get a ship reveal before we actually know the actual storyline, once we know what the ship looks like, we'll be able to fit it into the timeline, chronology-wise, and then we'll be able to make some more suppositions and deductions. But until then, we're kind of like, we've done all we can as far as speculating, I think.
Well, they said that, and the Cerritos are meant to be old, and yet there are design elements that don't make sense for any era.
Yeah, I know.
But this feels like it's going to have a more photoreal look for the ship, so far more detailed model, etc. Whereas Lodex is meant to be less.
In Squadra Course, I was just wondering, do we know if the burn reached the Gamma Quadrant?
Well, we don't know it. We don't know it. It was never said. We know that they had on their map stuff from the Delta Quadrant on their map, but the map doesn't mean anything because they know they said they can't reach the outer world of the Alpha Quadrant, so it's just a map of general location. I would be fine to bet it didn't even reach the edge of the Delta or Gamma quadrants, like, not remotely. Because all you need to do is ruin warp for 90% of the galaxy, and you ruin warp for everybody. Because if they if they're 70 years away, they couldn't even get to you, and nor are they going to try. And it's probably a case of, we said this before, but more dilithium is okay the further out you go. So because they do have warp travel. Did you see them fly at the season finale? Lots of people did warp. They have it, they don't use it much. So I'm assuming, centerpiece was that nebula, and then those quadrants have a lot less, if any. And I'd be fine with the gentle retcon saying, oh no, Delta Quadrant's pretty much fine, just, didn't come and see us much. So it's a, 50-year journey.
Watch this. The ship is actually like from the future, like Discovery Season 3. Season 4, the ship will actually get sent back in time, crash on this planet. So it's a super advanced ship. That would be kind of neat as well. But anyway.
I mean, it is...
It's a ship that was sent back at the time of the burn. Because of the burn.
So this was a Kelpian ship, you're saying?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was in high warp, and the dilithium didn't actually fracture. It just kind of distorted and actually created a wormhole and back through time. And
goodness,
there you go, killed everybody.
I mean, yeah. I mean, they wouldn't know the difference between old, new old, simply old. And if they're kids, if they're 17, then a 10-year-old ship feels old to them. So saying old is from their perspective potentially. So, but it's it's obviously worth their time inventing a new ship, because then they get to sell miniatures of it. Egomos makes hundreds of thousands of dollars, so that's obviously worth it. You can make posters, you get an original vibe, blah blah blah. They're in a new era, so they get to do whatever they want timeline wise, but the Gen Hey at least still feels like Federation designs for the most part. They're not too far out of the box. Unless it's a heavy science ship, or if it's only a warship, presumably. But who say it's not? If it's a Starfleet ship, it could be a Starfleet transport. It could be something really crap. So I'm assuming that as we go throughout the season, I said this to you right from the start, that they're going to modify the ship. So unlike DS9, where you'd think they would change the crew corps to look more Federation and homely, rather than get used to it, because it's easy, I'm assuming they're going to change the ship as they go, because it's CG, they can do whatever they want, And so it will get less and less Federation as they go, but because we like the characters, it doesn't matter. We're gonna like the E2 Enterprise. Oh, we found a Eldorian trader. Now we've got Eldorian phaser grinders on the top. It's like, yeah, throw away the phaser ball turrets that don't work anymore. Swap.
Maybe it's a future Federation ship from the alternate timeline, like in Shattered, where Janeway was dead, but Ichep and Naomi were grown up, and Project Pathfinders tried to send them a ship from the future, with the training hologram being Janeway as a way to make the crew feel at ease, maybe with the dead captain, teaching them how to use the ship. Anyway, and they send it and try to rescue or help Voyager. That's really going too far, but could be a thing.
Yeah, without it really is amazing. Without knowing the storyline, like we know the date, we know the place, we know the characters, but the story is the most important thing.
It opens up so much creative thinking. Like the ideas we've come up with already are kind of interesting. We could have, expand on those, but Kyle Wong throws in £5. So thank you. They could bump into the lone EMH doc that is on his way home after being reactivated. God damn it. The doctor keeps being mentioned in all these iterations of things that could be a thing. And absolutely could fit in anywhere. And Picardo would do it, which is the great thing. I think that's why a lot of people are talking about it. But T. Louise Allen sounded good. Cap, I'm curious as to when Janeway had time to do a hologram training character. She wouldn't have to. They would just create the program and just overlay her whatever on top of it. So she wouldn't have to do anything. Not like they need to put the dots on her and have her walk around and get the mocap for it. It's not how it works.
No, it's like saying, well, when did Leah Brahms spend the time to make? Oh no, she didn't. George just said make Leah Brahms. He was like, okay. It is that easy, and you would assume that if this is post Voyager, they'd have a slightly more generous file on this lady captain, as our main lady captain in Starfleet. But now you've got this big file for her. Yeah.
ISFJ 1009, $5.
Thank you.
They could run into Fantome and his species.
Ooh, which one's that? Remember that? That's something to do with the Doctor, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not. It's the name's ringing a bell, but I can't. I'm not picture what it's from.
Oh yes, it's the guys from the Void, who speak in the.
Oh yeah.
They will escape at the end. That was a good episode. Played by Jonathan DeLarco. He's the other one.
DO77X AC Henry released a video today about how useful a mobile emitter could be in Star Trek, like making a sculpture or a structure or a web vehicle. Haven't seen that yet, but that's awesome. I love seeing Eric Henry's work.
Yeah, he does not racing that
Let's
many.
do a maximum warp race between all.
Okay. So it's one video a month, basically. Yeah, I don't think he made that many videos anymore.
Yeah. Well, I think we're probably winding down here at this point. But 6 more likes to get to 120 would be fantastic. And honestly, another $15 in super chats would be a big help.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of sad. Like I said, it shows a bit of lack of interest in the show, but we haven't seen it yet, so I can't blame them.
Yeah.
It isn't like this came from your childhood, etc.
Don't forget, there's the last super chat slot, right? As of right now,
Yeah.
ISFJ 1009 has it. So if you want it, you want to snipe for it, by all means, now's the time to start. Because it gives you the honor of saying that you were the last super chat.
And
it's important.
And we know how important glory is to you and your house.
To you and your house.
Or Kailash.
But not today.
Well, it's up to them, Stuart.
Nobody besides ISFJ 1009 will have the glory. So that's why I was saying to all them. But not today.
But in answer to my question from half an hour ago, I think Ella Pertner's Gwyn I'm most excited for because A, I like the character design, and B, exploration vibes. I always appreciate having that Trek mentality built into the character. Because, and especially as, like you said, her and the guy clear the top two, even the same age range, and everyone else is kind of secondaries around them. They're pushing it forward, and you want your lead to be positive, strong in the Star Trek world, and not Michael Burnham. So hopefully, is it? Because I was almost getting like warrior princess vibes from the character with the armor look.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy not.
She looks like a Jedi. Looks like she could be a Jedi Knight.
No, 100%. So I appreciate not that, or being, you know, some things they could have been. So I'm happy not, and I'm fine with all, for me, unknowns, except 2, which is great. You know, give them their own identity.
Yeah. T. Louise Allen puts in $5. Thanks for the theories, Snipe. Oh, you had it for a second. And then Matt Boardman jumps in with $5. They've been really tight-lipped about a lot of stuff on this series, so there hasn't been much to really look forward to yet. Yes, that's why we're hoping there more people would show up today, because this was like, I was kind of excited to get the character, at least the small character profiles, but, you know, it is what it is. We'll see how it goes.
But it means we'll talk about it in increments, and these are always fun to look back on. We did them about some of the cast members from Discovery, and we were equally like, who are these people? Anthony Rapp from Rent. Who's seen Rent? I don't know. I haven't. Not famous down here that I know of. So.
He was in Adventures in Babysitting. He was in X-Files. He was in a lot of things.
Stuart, a lot of people in X-Files.
It's true.
Who wasn't in X-Files from the 80s and 90s?
I wasn't.
Were you an actor in LA in the 90s?
I might have been. You never know.
Oh God. But no, I think, you know, the fact they've got so many shows means that they can be more tight-lipped, because A, they know you're going to watch them. They proved that with Lower Decks and other shows, and they showed they can build hype, etc. Now we're expecting new shows all the time, so they don't have to work as hard. I mean, they're working more hard in terms of producing them, but the promotion is, because it's like a wheel of promotion from one show to the next. But if you've got 5 shows, it's just the next slot of promotion, and they all reinforce each other for new Treks coming, and so it can be, they can be more chill, which means then the trailer then can come out and be more impressive, because it's like, oh my god. And I can't imagine they've not got, you know, most of the season finished. I'd be surprised if they hadn't.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if they come in and say, boom, no, but no season 2 is announced because Mulgrews are recording for it. So yeah, that's not even...
Oh yeah, she did say that, didn't she?
Yeah.
Ooh, 6 dislikes. There's always somebody. Yeah, there's always a few people. And we have 117 likes, though, which is important. Focus on those. 3 more likes to get to 2 or 120?
Yeah,
that'd be great.
120. Yeah. And then, Stuart, we've got 2 more lives, if not 3, this week. Who knows? But
probably 2. I do need a day where I gotta go out and do something. So
which day do you want to book that in, then? Tell the audience.
Not sure yet. Thursday or Friday.
Okay.
So.
And I know that I need to book with you a live with the Dreadnought Dominion team to film, well, to talk to you about their crowdfund, which is going great, and their entire franchise. And we're also going to record a video with them, not this weekend, not last weekend, but this weekend, which I have to talk to you about. Let me go back and check my notes.
While you're doing that.
Yeah, they aren't as free as we are because they have jobs during the day, and they're in the past of me, so their day is hard.
Yeah. Area 51, $5. Looking forward to losing the last super chat slot. He's sticking his tongue out at all of you.
Challenge.
Area 51. Let's see here.
Right, so
119 likes. Woohoo, that's awesome. Keep going, guys. Hit that like button if you haven't.
So Gary can do 5:30 or 6 tomorrow. I think so can Randy. So, but I don't want to be too late. So 5:30 your time for Dreadnought Dominion.
Like to start the live?
Yeah, because he stops work at 5, so he don't have to come. He has to get home, etc.
That'd be fine. Yeah.
Okay, and that's talk about the Dreadnought team. So Stuart, you get to talk about Dreadnoughts. I'll just tune out because you can. And hey, maybe you can show them your Foley and have them review your Dreadnought design.
Ooh, fancy.
And they're the only fan film to have an officially approved ship, as Franz Joseph's wife approved them to use the ship in that production. So they have Joseph. Wait, is his name Fran?
His name is Franz. Yeah, Franz.
Okay, yeah. So Joseph, Mr. Joseph's permission.
Yeah.
You never say his. Yeah, you never say his one thing.
Anton Smith's like, wow, what's up with the dislikes? A lot of people are like complaining that this show's already woke. Go woke, go broke, those assholes.
How is it woke?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
we were dealing with a situation on the Trekyards page earlier today about that, and it's just bullshit.
Because when a thing's woke, you can tell. Like, because it's blatant normally. Like, oh my god, what's going on? This just looks like a show with people in it.
Yeah. Anyway, T. Louise Allen, $5 at Area 51. As you wish, winky face, live long and prosper. So she's sniping him out with the last super chat slot. 122 likes, which is great. That's okay. I'm gonna be greedy and go for 3 more. Let's get 125 likes. Nice number to end on. But yeah. Just glad to help meet the goal. Thanks, Area 51. Appreciate that. But yeah, if you guys, 3 more people out there that haven't hit like yet, there's 86 people watching. I'm sure somebody hasn't hit like. Just hit like. I want to get to 125.
Yeah.
Another $5 in super chats would be a great little push. So one $5, a couple dollars would be great. A couple $1 ones, if you can. And then we'll call it quits.
Yes.
A little bit early tonight, but that's okay. We didn't have a lot to talk about really, and
or at least we did have a lot of small things. They came and went.
Yeah.
So which weekend day is better for you to do filming with the Dreadnought Dominion guys for sort of 35 minutes? They'll be flexible time wise, but it's the same time zone as you, so.
Yeah. Either one, Saturday or Sunday, doesn't really matter.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything going on this weekend, so we'll figure it out. All live on air with you guys. 125 likes, we hit that. Woohoo! And another $5, and that would be fantastic. Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow, I guess, at 5:30 with the Dominion guys. On Thursday or Friday, I'll also be alive, but Friday night, Friday night I won't be able to because I'm going on that podcast.
Ooh, what podcast? Pimp away!
I don't remember the name of it. God
Research so you can pimp away!
Let me take a look in my chat history. Starfleet. Where is it here?
But I'm sure we'll do maybe a TNG review
Ooh.
on Thursday, though, because we've got those to go through.
Just said, gotta have you on an episode of After Dark sometime there, Cap. And it's Captain Justin Festick. I don't know. After
Okay.
Dark something.
So you'll be
Let me message him.
a celebrity guest on an unknown thing.
Hold on.
Dear.
But yeah. Anyway. Matt Boardman, $2. Snipe. Ooh, that was a good wind up. Great. And T. Louise Allen, $3. Are you sure? Winky face, laughy face, live long and prosper. Whoa. She's rubbing it in. All right. Hold on here. Okay, it's Starfleet After Dark is the podcast on Friday night, starting at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you guys can tune in, that'd be great.
Oh no!
Yeah, Starfleet After Dark.
Oh no! The snipes keep on coming because they do not want each other to win. Oh no!
That's okay.
It is good. It's fine. I'm gonna go after this and start looking at a Voyager corridor piece that I've been sent to start 3Ding, lighting, etc. So I know how it looks until I start using it. And I'm happy to report, and I'm going to show Matt you this later, but I was sent the because of Mark Lawrence, who basically self-helped us fund by himself a Discovery themed short, or at least Crossfield themed short, and we have a 80% ready to go bridge now, which we beam onto. I was able to play that this morning, and boy, Stuart, the cognitive dissonance of having to spend time on Discovery bridge design and light it and be careful. It's just like it's like a twitch in my brain saying, is this good? Am I okay with this? I'm not sure, but I'm doing it. So
interesting.
I'm literally inside Discovery. You know, I'm getting right in. I'm moving around it, and I'm touching things and selecting polygons and just right inside Discovery. You know, for closer than you've been, you know, I'm right in there. Did you know the floor is actually 4 colors?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, neither did I. Why do I have to know that? But I do now because it's such a boring color palette in when you think about it that you need to look carefully because what's what and every one of those color variations makes a difference. Nothing you only notice when you look deeply is that obviously it's hugely reflective, but the doors are matte, like a lot more matte for some reason.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that was an interesting experience. Real interesting experience. And you can also sense that it's not being lit from the practical set as much as you're meant to think it is, because it isn't that light. Because if you light things with realistic lights from the scene, then it is lit. Like, it's amazing how often I can make things look, oh, that looks about right, because that's where the lights are. There's no it's all being mathed, you know.
Yeah.
But you can tell it's being done the other places too.
Matt Boardman, $2 with pew pew pew. And T. Louise Allen is like $2. Nope. Space Invaders coming in. Bryce says, I think Trekyards would be more interesting with a third host, don't you? Someone smart and witty and attractive whose name starts with a B, maybe. Who? Brianna? Becky?
Brienne of Tarth? That's a fictional character, Stuart. Bolana Torres? She's quite smart.
I don't want her on the show. I hate her. No, it's been talked about before to have a female co-host with us that doesn't know anything about Trek to kind of counterbalance things, but it'd change the dynamic too much, I think.
And we've often found, because we know when each others are going to start and stop talking, we've gained that knowledge, and even when we have talked to interviews with another person, you know, when you can, can't, do, don't, and the lag comes across. And we were recently on a show where the hosts clearly weren't as experienced as we were, and it's visible in how they all interact with each other, whereas we've gained this sort of, you know, so adding a third person, like if they would be too timid to talk and we're like, we didn't say anything, and they say, well, I don't know when to butt in, and you're like, but you, okay, whenever you want, but there's simple ways of having that cue, and we know them, you know. Yeah. Plus, we're not into pandering or for the sake of it, you know.
Yeah.
We love. We're gonna have a gay guest if that helps. As we're gonna bring them on for a few episodes, but that shouldn't matter. But it's another demographic, I guess.
Mm-hmm. We've had some before actually for Trekyards originals. So. Yeah.
But that's not the most important thing about them. Yeah, they're people.
No.
As I think you would say if your brain was thinking about it. The most important thing is if they're a Trek fan or not. There you go. So.
Yes. Or just a decent human being. I don't care if they're a Trek fan or not, just as long as they're a decent human being.
Oh.
Honestly, another $2 would be great to end out. That'll get us that number that we originally kind of had in mind. So it's $2. And 2 more likes. Oh, 1 more like now to get to 130. So $2 and 1 like would be a fantastic way. And then we'll be done. Then we'll call it. As soon as we get both of those things, plus T. Louise is like, no, I just put in $2 for the last Super Chat slot.
But Area 51 says, Samuel, if you don't like how your Discovery Bridge looks, then it's accurate. Yeah, there is some logic to that. But straight after that, I get to start working on a Galaxy class bridge. Well, once it's built. Hasn't been built even at all. So, you know, swings and roundabouts of design.
Nice. All right, well, I guess we'll call it there. We hit the 130 likes. So that's great. But T. Louise Allen is not only the winner of the mystery box, but also the last Super Chat slot. So good job.
Oh, thanks, John. And don't worry, John. It's always if you can, not you should. You know, everything we do is for free. Yeah. It's just if you can and help us do more. That's all okay. But I definitely look forward to this new show. Even if it's okay, they'll learn lessons and make season 2 better. Which, although I guess they won't because they're already making it now. Okay, they won't season 3 because you can't make it better unless you hear fan feedback. And if you wait to film season 2, then you don't know.
Yeah. T. Louise Allen, $2. Snipe then. Live long and prosper. And
you sniped yourself.
Even the raised eyebrow. The Vulcan raised eyebrow.
Right. Does that mean if there, because normally a sniper war means there's 2 snipers or more. Does that mean you then had to shoot a bullet? Did you have to convert right back to snipe yourself because you sniped at your snipe, or you're just double sniping to make sure that the person's gone?
Yeah, you missed the target or something.
Yeah.
Trying again. They're wounded. They're not dead.
You missed the target again, apparently by 2. Oh no.
Ozzy Madero's $5. Hi. Oh, it's 122 degrees here in Arizona. Skeleton hands. God damn it. That's hot. Sergeant Montgomery, $2. Prodigal Snipe. Okay. And Squadron Course with $1. Oof. A $1 snipe to end out.
I mean, you can do
Louise.
that. But $1 is a perfectly acceptable. But briefly, though, Bryce says, it's sad to say that Star Trek 09 had a better design aesthetic that fit with what version of that era might look like than Discovery had. I never thought I'd say that. I could probably go with that.
Yeah.
On that note.
Yeah, it's a great way to end.
Thanks, guys.
All right, guys.
We'll see you tomorrow, probably for a Drunk Dominion. But do come and check, guys. They've been doing fan films for a long time, and there's some nice guys to talk to.
Cool. Looking forward to that. So anyway, guys, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Until then, he's Commander Cocking.
He's Captain Foley. Bye, guys.
And we're Trekyards.
Yeah. And they're Prodigy.
Bye, everybody.